It all comes down to this Super Bowl weekend, Super Bowl 58, Chiefs versus the 49ers, a hellacious game on tap and ready to go. Two great teams, two great offenses, defenses that really showed up and showed out and played well. More so the Chiefs in terms of their defense throughout the entire season. Um, Two great head coaches, and obviously the great coordinators that play for both of these, that help both of these teams do what they need to do in terms of being as good as they are. A lot of different, storylines going into the Super Bowl game. A lot of different questions, a lot of things at stake, obviously for both teams. For the 49ers, this is their third Super Bowl in the past decade in terms of that they've been to. They obviously went 2012. They win 2019 against the Chiefs. This is obviously a Super Bowl rematch of about 3-4 years ago when they played in Super Bowl 54. So this is 4 years in the making, and it's definitely interesting. It's a lot of, like I said, a lot of key storylines to talk about. You know, obviously, I'm not going to dive deep into the Taylor Swift, Travis Kelce nonsense. Obviously, people can make their opinions and their thought process on that. You know what I mean? I don't think it's that big of a deal in terms of the game. I'm speaking specifically about the game as a whole. You know, you got Brock Purdy, who's Mr. Irrelevant, who's really played well all season. He's had some duds here or there in terms of some big games, but this is the biggest game of his life, the biggest game that he'll ever be in, more than likely. You know, the chance to really, really shut up and silence all the haters that continue to consistently call him a game manager or a system quarterback or a guy who's only, in Cam Newton's eyes, the 10th best player on his team. You know, there's some things that when you watch the tape and you watch games can fit that narrative and can hold some credence to that, but there's also a lot of tape that disproves that theory. But he's got a lot to prove going into this game. Um, Obviously, when it comes to Patrick Mahomes on the other side, the other quarterback on the other side, this dude's chasing greatness. I think everybody needs to pump the brakes when it comes to all of the GOAT talk and all of the greatest of all time and chasing Brady. He's on the right track. I love Mahomes. He's a great player. Obviously, the best quarterback in the league, bar none. There's nobody in comparison to him right now. Obviously, there's guys who have the physical and athletic features that he has in terms of his attributes, but mentally, in terms of the total package, nobody seems to compare right now. This dude's been in his sixth straight AFC Championship game. Obviously, y'all know the stats. You know, he did something this postseason in a year where the the amount of nonsense that was going on with their team in terms of their receivers, in terms of the offensive miscues that they had all season long. The fact that he's back in another Super Bowl, his fourth one after all that, winning two crucial games on the road, you know, against good opponents, especially against the Ravens, who were the best defense all year long. You got to get a dude the credit where credit is due. And he'll definitely jump up the totem pole in terms of rankings when it comes to all-time great players and quarterbacks should he win this Super Bowl coming up. You know, I just want people to pump the brakes on the whole GOAT talk. Let the man get through half of his career first before we start crowning him as the second coming of God, or you know what I mean. He's a great player. Just let him continue building his resume and his legacy. He's still got a ways to go. Winning this one will be something that hasn't been done though in the sport, that no NFL player has done in the sport. No NFL player has won, you know, not only won 3 championships in 7 seasons, along with having multiple MVPs. No NFL player has done that. You know what I mean? Brady's the only one that had the success in terms of the early championship success, but he didn't have the MVPs or the statistics, at least not to the level of level of a Mahomes. So that's what's at stake. Obviously, our stake is for Mahomes is to continue building his legacy, continue going up that ladder towards supposed GOAT status. When it comes to obviously the Chiefs as a whole, going back to back would be something that hasn't been done in like 20 years since New England did it. It's obviously something they worked their ass off to try to get to and perform at. You know, it should be interesting. I really can't wait for this game. When I look at the key matchups and the key factors, what I look at and say for each team to win, this guy's going to have to step up and have a great game. When it comes to the Niners, obviously CMC makes their engine go. He's the one, he's the engine, he's the guy who makes their offense as a whole be what it is and as explosive as it is, even though Kyle Shanahan is a great offensive guru type of head coach and the schemes that he comes up with and the things he likes to run. But CMC is obviously going to be a big factor. They can get the run game going against a Chiefs defensive team that's very, very good, but their run defense isn't the greatest. If they can get the run game going, it could spell doom for the Chiefs in this game. But I think when you look at the four strong formations that the Niners and the Chiefs both like to run, but like when the Niners more so like to run it, they love attacking the backside. I heard Kurt Warner speaking about this and talking about it on his show, speaking about, just going through the X's and O's of the game and what the Niners love to do, and what they've been doing all year. They love attacking with Brandon Ayuk in that one-on-one scenario. I think that Snead versus Brandon Ayuk matchup is going to be the key, one of the biggest key matchups of this game going away. When you look at Brandon Ayuk in this season, including the playoffs, when he gets 15% of the targets, and is the integral part of the offense as the premier number one wide receiver, they're winning most of their games. Now, when he gets locked up or just isn't that big of a part of their offense, they lose a lot. You know what I mean? When he's not performing at the best of his abilities, they're not winning these games. So it's more so, as you can see in this graphic, his numbers and things of that nature seem to tail down and fall off a little bit when they lose. So Snead, who's proven to be an all-pro, how he didn't become an all-pro this season was crazy. He had an all-pro level year. I mean, every premier receiver you can think of, whether it was Tyreek Hill, Jamar Chase, A.J. Brown, any receiver, like the top level receivers he played this year, he did a great job on. He locked up a lot of them, had them in a box most of the game. So that's going to be the key matchup for me, or at least one of them on the Chiefs offensive side, on the 49ers offensive side of the ball is CMC and it's Brandon Ayuk. But Brandon Ayuk is going to be the guy. If he can win his matchup against Snead on a consistent basis, because the Chiefs love running a lot of man coverage, they love blitzing a lot. Spags is one of the best defensive coordinators, who I gave a lot of rag 2 years ago because I thought he should have been out of the Chiefs defensive coordinator position, because their defense was terrible around 2018, 2019, 2020. They weren't a great defense, but he's turned it around, got a lot of young pieces to buy into his system, and they're one of the best defenses in the league. And Snead has proven that Snead has earned another big contract that he probably won't get from the Chiefs, depending upon what the Chiefs do. But when it comes to this matchup, whoever wins this matchup to me is really going to dictate who wins this game. There's a lot of other pieces on that 49ers offense, the Debos, the George Kittles, and those guys will play well. I think they'll make plays when they're there to be made, but that Brandon Ayuk matchup is going to matter. Whoever wins that, to me, is going to be in good shape when it comes to the Niners offense versus the Chiefs defense. When you go on to the other side, when it comes to Mahomes and Travis Kelce, it's obvious. I mean, it's obvious as day. You stop Kelce, it makes their offense look pretty pathetic. They just, outside of Rashee Rice, is really none of these guys you really can trust to really be consistent to make plays on the outside and make consistent catches and big plays when they matter the most. This is going to come down to, obviously, the Fred Warner and Greenlaw. Can they lock up Kelce? Can they put him in a box? Can they come up with a solid game plan to bracket Kelce the entire game and keep him, I'd say, in the low 60s in terms of yardage? If he gets over 100 yards, I mean, it could be a good night for them, because it's just, you can't have that. You can't have the one guy that can beat you. You make one of these guys like Justin Watson or MVS or hell, even Kadarius Toney's punk ass. You have him beat you. Don't have the number one guy on their offense beat you, obviously. I expect a lot of short intermediate throws from Mahomes. I expect Mahomes to play a virtuoso type game, play well. you obviously got to try to make him make a few mistakes. The more mistakes you have him make, the better your chances, obviously, to win the game is. And I'm not saying when it comes to Steve Wilson, defensive coordinator, am I saying bring a lot of pressure. You got obviously the offensive tackle position is going to be another key position as well, with Juwan Taylor being the most penalized player in the league. You know, going up against Nick Bosa or Chase Young, whether it's Devontae Smith or Donovan Smith, excuse me, going up against Chase Young, and you got Nick Bosa going up against Juwan Taylor, or vice versa. This is going to be the biggest test for the Chiefs O-line all year long, especially when you consider the fact that they're going to be without, more than likely, their all-pro Joe Tooney, who, I mean, Alec Reddy fit in well in the previous game, but he's going to be a key piece that they're going to miss. You know, the tackle position, they got to protect Mahomes. If the Niners can get there with 4 and get pressure, consistent pressure all season, all game long against Mahomes, it's going to spell doom for that team, because I just don't see Mahomes being able to play a great clean game if he's getting pressured all game. Because like I said, outside of Travis Kelce and Rashee Rice, you can't really trust any other pieces on that offensive team. Obviously, Pacheco's back there, but I expect with the Niners defensive line and their front seven, which is really good, they've struggled in the playoffs to run the ball, or excuse me, the Chiefs have not struggled, but the 49ers have struggled to stop the run in the playoffs. So against the Chiefs, if they can stop the run and, like I said, get pressure with Ford, that to me has always been the MO against the Chiefs. Stop the run, keep them in 3rd and longs, and force Mahomes to have to make crazy, insane throws every single 3rd down. You know, if he's going to complete a 3rd and 15, a 3rd and 9, a 3rd and 8, you know, to, like I said, to one of these 3rd string, 4th string receivers, then they can have it. I'd rather lose off that merit than lose by letting Travis Kelce be one-on-one or be sitting in zones with nobody around him. But I'll reiterate once again before I get out of here and give my prediction. When it comes to the 49ers offense versus the Chiefs defense, the key is Brandon Ayuk versus L'Jarius Sneed, and stopping CMC with the Chiefs in terms of their thought process. If they can slow both of those two players down, they give themselves a way better chance of winning. When it comes to the Chiefs offense against the Niners defense, Niners got to play balanced. They got to play solid, get pressure with 4, and try to confuse Mahomes, and try to take away some of the underneath stuff as well. Obviously, bracket and take away Kelce. Get there with 4, bracket Kelce. Don't blitz as much, because Mahomes eats the blitz up. Those are the key factors in this game, in my opinion. When it comes to my predictions as to who I think is going to come out on top and win this game, I've been going back and forth this past couple of days, trying to come up with my opinion as who I think is going to win. You know, I really do believe that the Chiefs will do enough to get it done and go back to back. I hate saying it, and I hate being that guy, because I know people really don't want to see the Chiefs win. Obviously, of course I don't, but bottom line is I think they'll do enough. I think this is not going to be a big scoring game. I think this is going to be somewhere like a 24-17 type game, but I don't, because I see both teams making mistakes and having turnovers, and I expect to see a lot of defensive stops within the game, but I could be wrong. Obviously, this is just my opinion, what I think. I am no football expert. This is just my opinion and what I believe is going to happen. But yeah, when it comes to my predictions, I think Mahomes gets his 3rd ring. I think the Chiefs go back to back. I think it's a heartbreaker. I think it comes down to a situation where Purdy is in position to go down and get points, and he turns the ball over. I hope that's not the case, but that's kind of what I'm visualizing and thinking is going to happen. The Chiefs have the lead late. Brock Purdy and Niners need to score, and he turns the ball over in a bad situation. But I digress. You know, Anything can happen. I can't wait for this game. It's going to be a very viewed game, very publicized game. Should be very entertaining. Other than that, thank you guys all for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, anything in terms of that nature. Turn on the post notification bell. Anything when it comes to liking and commenting, it helps the channel greatly and immensely. I appreciate it. And we on the road to 3,000 subscribers. It's been a really good road. Love all of the love I've been getting, and even some of the hate I like it too, in terms of the criticism. But once again, thank you guys all for watching. And as always, until we meet again,